the way I see it, I'm young and I'm investing for retirement. If you're investing for retirement like me and you're in your 20s, right? Our retirement is probably 30 years away. How old you are and what you're investing for matters as well, because I don't have time to recover anymore. I'm not working anymore. Hey guys, welcome back to The Money Goal. My name is Emir and I have Yasmin with me today. Yasmin,
hi.
How's the investment going?
Very good, actually.
Okay, but more questions today.
More questions today
right.
about investment again, actually. So I think a lot of people out there would want to know, when you finally have that extra cash to grow, right? Like, everyone starts shouting advice about, like, oh, do crypto, oh, do stocks, oh, do ASB, which is kind of like the position that I was in before, right?
There's too many things to invest in. There's so many
choices.
options. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's so many choices. There's so many options, and there isn't necessarily like a right or wrong choice to make, right?
Exactly.
So I guess what I want to figure out today with you is what's right for people out there.
Okay.
And what is that dependent on?
Okay. So I guess I would classify investments into, okay, one is the extremely low risk. So things like ASB, money market funds, fixed deposits, those are very low risk investments.
Right.
And then there are the higher risk ones like gold, stocks. I would say they're a bit more high risk.
Gold is considered high risk.
I would consider higher risk than ASB, for example, for sure.
Right.
Because ASB, it doesn't fluctuate at all.
It's fixed.
Right? Fixed deposits, it doesn't fluctuate at all. Whereas gold, it can fluctuate. So stocks, gold, I would consider it higher risk, and then crypto is probably the highest of risk, right? So if you think about it logically, the higher risk you take on, the higher potential returns you should expect.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Then there's no point for me taking a high risk investment with ASB level returns, because then I may as well just invest in ASB, right? That's a risk-free rate, right? So people then need to first decide. That's why I'm not sure when you signed up for your first investment, whether they ask you they ask you a few questions to determine your risk tolerance. Exactly, right?
Yes.
So people who do it through like apps, like robot advisors and stuff, they will get that done for them. But if you're doing it yourself, you need to figure out what's your risk tolerance. So how much risk are you willing to take? If you're not someone who is a risk taker, if you're a more risk averse person, then you should go for lower risk investments like ASB, for example, right? But a caveat to that, I would say, is a lot of people in Malaysia, I notice at least, when I speak to like my followers, my friends, family, they tend to be a bit more risk averse for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's a cultural thing, which, I mean, it's fine, right? Everyone is different, but I would say people need to take on a bit more risk. In the Malaysian context, at least, I think a lot of people are very complacent with ASB for Boomies, and for non-Boomies, they really like fixed deposits. Like, they would throw their entire net worth into fixed deposits, which is, again, okay, but we need to consider taking on a bit of risk to get potentially higher returns. Because at the end of the day, if you're getting, let's say, 3-4% from your fixed deposits, after inflation, you're not really getting much anymore. Yeah.
And what was the first thing you invested in?
So for me, my very first investment was ASB.
Okay.
Yeah, just
How old were you?
I was, I think, 19 when I got my first job. Yeah. Right. So I did ASB first because that was the simplest. So I didn't have to do any research or anything. Literally just transfer your money there and it's done. So I think it is a good starting place for a lot of people, especially if you don't have an emergency fund. So ASB is an investment, but in a way, it can also serve a purpose as your emergency fund, right? You could invest 50,000 ringgit in there. And if you really need the cash for an emergency, you can just take it out, right? Which is why I started with ASB first as well. But after, over the last few years, at least, most of my money now goes to stocks, actually. Yeah, that is my preferred investment.
So why the transition?
I like to take risks.
Right, simple as.
I wanted the highest return, exactly. Yeah, the highest potential return. So it's not guaranteed, right? Stocks could underperform ASB. Historically, stocks has not underperformed ASB. Historically, stocks has been, over the last 10 years, I would say maybe 10-11% a year, which is a lot higher. So that's what I'm aiming for. So one thing as well is, the way I see it, I'm young, right? And I'm investing for retirement. And okay, this is another thing that you need to consider. What are you investing for? If you're investing for retirement like me, and you're in your 20s, right? Our retirement is probably 30 years away. 20, 30 years away lah. So because we have a long time horizon, we should take on more risk for potentially high returns. The reason for that is because, okay, let's say I'm 29 now. I invest today. tomorrow the stock market crashes because, whatever reason, right? Stocks drop 50%. I still have a lot more time to let it recover. I still have 20 more years to let it recover compared to someone who is 60 years old, who has already retired. If their retirement fund drops by 50% tomorrow, they're kind of screwed, right? They're kind of screwed. So how old you are and what you're investing for matters as well.
Oh, that's really interesting, because I would have thought that if you're investing really early in your life, and for example, if you're investing for retirement and you're, I would have thought that you would be essentially looking at it kind of like a long game. So
exactly.
just do it low and slow, I suppose.
Oh, no, it's actually the other way around.
I see. That's interesting.
Yeah, because when you're older, you can't take the risk anymore, right?
Right.
Like I have 2 million ringgit to retire at 60. I can't risk this going to 1 million tomorrow because I don't have time to recover anymore. I'm not working anymore, right? So that's pretty much the difference. Yeah.
I see.
And it works in a similar way. So some people, they tell me, I want to invest money, but this money that I'm investing, supposedly, is for a holiday next year. So if that's you have a 1 year time horizon, you can't really invest in stocks. Because stocks can do anything in a 1 year period, right? It could drop 50% in 1 year. So if you invest in stocks for something that you need in 1 year's time, it could go very well for you. It could go very bad for you. So for that reason, essentially, if you're investing for a shorter time frame, you need to stick to lower risk investments. Yeah.
And when you first started investing in ASB, did you understand like what it was that you were doing necessarily? Not to like undermine your knowledge of it, but then I think like at 18, 19 years old, I mean, we've talked about this before. I didn't know anything. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I would, I guess, naturally gravitate towards something that's low risk.
Exactly, yeah.
It's simply just because I lack the knowledge.
It's similar for me. So I didn't know much about it, but I think probably similar for you as well. It's because it's something that my parents told me. So they always talk about, ASB, very safe, very simple, just put it there. Yeah, that's probably why I put it there first as well.
Right.
I didn't know that much about it back then, but I knew that I was just looking back at dividend history and stuff. It was paying out 6-7% a year. So I thought, okay, not so bad. My parents told me about it. Returns looked okay. So I just put my money there.
I see. Well, I was thinking that maybe you could like break down the three that I literally just mentioned. So that's ASB, stocks, and then
crypto, right?
Crypto.
Okay. So I have crypto as well, but I don't allocate such a big percentage to it. The reason for that is because, I know some people do. Like they will go 50%, even like 80% of the portfolio in crypto. They're basically all or nothing. And they really believe in it, right?
That feels crazy to me.
It does feel crazy. Yeah, I know. But now they're doing really well because Bitcoin is at like $120,000. Yeah. But I mean, that's in hindsight. If I knew this 10 years ago, obviously
of course. Then we would have all put it in.
Exactly. Yeah. So in hindsight, it would have worked well, but I would still not do it just because I'm not comfortable taking on that amount of risk. So yes, I have a long-term horizon, but my risk tolerance is not at that level. And another thing to me is that maybe I'll get some hate on that, a bit of a divisive comment, but I'm not entirely sold on Bitcoin, right? On crypto as a whole. Like when we're talking about investing into companies, like many companies, we know that they will be around for the next 50, 100 years. So even if they're not around, there'll be a replacement, which is essentially what the S&P 500 does, right? It replaces bad companies with good companies. Whereas if you ask me, would Bitcoin be around and useful in 20 years' time? I have no idea. I have no idea. It could be 1 million, it could be zero.
Well, also because something like Bitcoin, I mean, crypto in general is not, it's not something tangible.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no real use for it other than people thinking that it should be valued at this amount. So that's why I wouldn't put that much into crypto. But having said that, I do have some money, and I do believe that most people should have at least a small allocation towards crypto. So my thinking is, it's very simple actually. My thinking for Bitcoin is, I don't think it will be relevant in 20 years' time. But just in case I'm wrong, I'm going to put some money there. I'm going to put 5% there.
So that's the only reason why.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
5% there, 10% there. Also because, I mean, it has been performing well over the last 10 years. Again, no guarantees that this will continue in the next 10 years. I think it's highly unlikely that it's going to give this amount of returns moving forward. But again, I also don't want to just completely dismiss it, right? So I want to have some money there. And there are research that has been done in the past as well, where they show that having a 5% Bitcoin allocation in your portfolio, it actually increases your returns by a lot.
Oh, okay.
But you only take a bit more risk because it's only 5%. Yeah, so
I see.
yeah. So if you think about it that way, if you think about it more rationally, then to me, 5-10% is fine to me. Yeah. Sorry, actually, I forgot that you asked about comparing these three things. But okay, that's crypto. That's a crypto part, right? So the majority of my portfolio is in stocks. For the reason I was telling you earlier, I want to try maximize my returns. So anywhere between 8 to 10%, that's what I'm expecting from stocks every single year. That's how I want my money to grow. I think for people who are young, people who are in the stage of trying to build your wealth, this is where you want to be. Because yes, 5% ASB is good, 3%, 4% from your money market funds, from FD is good. It's just that when you don't have a lot of money, when you're only on, let's say a portfolio is 10,000 ringgit, 5% is 500, which it's good, it's a start, but you're not really building wealth, right? It's going to take you a lot of time to get there. Whereas stocks, you can get double the returns. Not every time, but historically, that's what it's been. So that's why most of my allocation is towards stocks, because I feel more comfortable investing in it compared to Bitcoin. And at the same time, I want to maximize my potential returns considering the risk. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. For ASB, I still have money there. So I think ASB is a really good product. I think money market funds, fixed deposits are still good. But I have these investments as sort of my emergency fund, sort of my safety
backup.
Exactly, like I was telling you, because like I said, I don't want to go, or you shouldn't go all into stocks. You shouldn't have zero savings and invest everything into stocks and crypto, because one day, if there's an emergency or if you need the cash, you don't want to be forced to sell your stocks.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad to sell your stocks, it's just that you don't know when an emergency can come. And if it comes when the stock market is down 50%, it means you have to sell at a 50% loss, which is not what you want to do.
Basically, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Yeah. So what I invest in stocks and Bitcoin is money that I don't expect to use or need for the next 10 years at least.
Oh, okay.
At least, yeah. So if I put 10,000 ringgit in my broker, I'm expecting not to touch this money for the next 10 years. Yep. Money that I am not so sure about, so like, I'm okay to invest it now, but maybe I might want to use it for a down payment on a house in the next 5 years. I'll put it into ASB. Yeah, so all of these things, they play a part in your portfolio. Like you said, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It really depends on you and
what your goals are.
Exactly.
Yeah, what your goals are.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess you kind of answered my question, which is a question that I wanted to ask, which is about diversifying
very important.
your portfolio.
Yeah.
So, like, if you could just do it a bit, like, numerically, like, how would you split up, like, in terms of like percentages?
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I would do
of like your salary.
Oh, of your salary?
Yeah.
Of how much you would invest, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, of how much you would invest. So, let's say it's 1,000 ringgit a month or whatever it is, right? I would do 5 to 10% crypto, depending on how much you want to put into that. So, let's just say 10% for me. I would do 20% into ASB, and then everything else stock.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
so it's like 10%, 20%, and
it's
then
quite hefty in
70%.
stocks then.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very heavy into stocks. But again, this might not apply to someone like you, for example. If you're just starting out and you want to build the emergency fund first, then you might want to switch that allocation between stocks and ASB. So you might want to go more into ASB first until you have 1 year's worth of your expenses, for example, saved up there, and then you move back into stocks and go heavier there.
Yeah. I mean, for me right now, I'm not playing with crypto like
not yet?
No.
Are you not tempted at all?
No, not really. But maybe. That's why I say not yet.
Okay.
Because I'm not entirely sure like where my mindset will be in like maybe like a year's time.
Yep.
But obviously, I've got ASB and then I've got like the stocks.
Okay. Then you just started, right?
I just started. And honestly, it's quite a nice bridge of the gap between something so high risk like crypto and something that's super low risk like ASB.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think that like I would do anything that's like more high risk than ASB.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, when I was so risk averse, right?
Exactly. You didn't want to invest in stocks, and now you have, and now you're considering crypto even.
Yes,
so it's good progression. It's good
exactly.
progression, yeah.
So that's why I was thinking. I'm sure there are lots of people like out there who, like me, just didn't want to like
take the next.
Yeah,
step,
I just didn't want to take the next step. But now that I am here, it's actually a lot more comfortable than I thought.
Exactly.
It's, but at the same time, I should probably stop checking on the app like every single day. I mean, even though it is sort of like medium risk-ish, I don't think it's that big of a step up from ASB,
Yeah.
from the low risk stuff that I was
so
doing.
that's actually one thing I wanted to mention. So I know a lot of people who don't want to invest in anything other than ASB,
ASB.
fixed deposits and stuff because they think they're not comfortable with the risk, which I think is fine again. But no one says you have to start with 100,000 ringgit,
Yes.
right? You don't have to start that big.
Yeah.
You can always start with however much you're comfortable with and then just see how you feel about it. So if you're comfortable with 500 ringgit, just put 500 ringgit. Leave it there for a few months and then maybe you're down 10%. Just see how you feel about it.
Yeah.
And as you get more comfortable, you just add more money in. Yeah, so I think the key is really just starting with whatever amount you're comfortable with and then just go from there.
Yeah, but I think at the same time as well, I think there are people who feel like, oh, if I don't put in a certain amount, then like, what's the point? Like, it doesn't really count.
Yeah, so honestly, if you put 500 ringgit, it's not going to change your life. 500 is never going to turn into $1 million. It's never going to happen, right? But it's just you getting used to it. Because before this, even for you, you never thought you would invest in stocks because you thought, oh, what if I lost money?
Yes.
I can't imagine the feeling of losing money.
Yeah.
But 500 ringgit, if you're down 50 and you think 50 is nothing to me, then you actually have the risk tolerance to invest more. Yeah, so you won't feel much, but it just gets you in the game at least. You have to just start.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty. Okay. Well, I've got some questions for you from our viewers and listeners.
Okay.
So the first one that I've got is, my friend convinced me to buy into a crypto coin that was about to explode.
Okay.
I didn't understand it, but I threw in 1,000 ringgit anyway.
Yep.
A week later, it dropped 40% and I panicked, sold everything and took the loss. Now I know I didn't lose money because of the market. I lost it because I had no idea what I was doing.
Yep.
So what are some tips to avoid making emotionally driven investment choices?
Number one, don't follow whatever your friend says. I think blindly following advice is probably the first mistake there. We have this saying because I trade a lot, right? You can't borrow conviction, which means if someone is so fully into, let's say, Bitcoin, for example, right? They believe in it so much and they tell you to do it. When the price drops 50%, they are okay because they're so convinced by it. But because you're borrowing their conviction, you can't hold on to that loss because you don't believe in it that much. So first things first, don't blindly follow any investment advice, even whatever I say, right? Don't do that. And then number two, only invest in what you know, what you understand. I will only do that, yeah. So this happened to me as well, even when I was just starting out. I put money where I didn't understand it because I thought, I was reading online as well. I was just reading online, seeing what people are investing in, put my money there, it went down, I sold it, and then lost money basically. Yeah, whereas if you're more confident like I am now in US stocks, S&P 500, if it drops, I don't really mind, I'll just buy more. That's basically the difference.
Alrighty. Okay, the next one. I started putting in 100 ringgit a month into ASB just to do something adult.
Okay.
After a year, my motorbike broke down and I didn't have emergency savings. But I could cash out on my my ASB. It wasn't a lot, but it helped me survive without borrowing.
Okay.
How can beginners use ASB as a low-risk first step into investing and saving?
Yep. I think this is a really good example of what I was telling you earlier, which is why I said when you're starting out, put it in ASB first for this exact scenario, right? At least when you need it for an emergency, you can access it immediately and you're not losing any money, right? The ASB price doesn't drop or anything like that. So I think this person is doing the right thing. It's fine for them. It's an emergency, right? They had to withdraw it to pay for their bills or whatever it is. Just top it back up. I think it's fine. Just keep building up again. And as soon as you can, or as soon as you feel like you have a nice enough cushion, then you can consider other things. But for now, I think it's fine. They're doing well.
Okay, and last submission. I bought shares in a company I loved, used their app all the time, so I assumed they were doing great.
Okay.
Turns out, liking the product doesn't mean the business is making money. The stock dropped and I learned the hard way that brand doesn't equal profit.
Yep.
What should first-time stock investors research before buying into a company?
Okay, this is such a tough question actually. But first of all, I've actually read a quote before where Warren Buffett said, I asked you this before, Warren Buffett. Invest in companies that you like. I honestly don't know whether he actually said that or not, but I believed it. And then I realized it's not true. You can't just invest in companies
just because you like it.
Exactly. Just because the products are good doesn't mean they're good. Of course, if you're talking about iPhone, then that is a very good example of you like the product, the company does well. But there are a lot of brands where the product is good, they just don't make money. Honestly speaking, if I want to just keep this short, the easy answer to that is don't invest in individual stocks, because there is no one thing that you can do to decide. There's just so many different elements you need to look at. You need to see whether they're profitable right now, how are they going to do in the next few quarters, and then you need to follow up every single quarter whether they're delivering or not. So it's a lot of work. There's no one thing that you can do. So my advice is, as usual, invest into ETFs.
Yeah.
Invest into things like the S&P 500. You have 500 different companies. It honestly doesn't matter if one company doesn't do well. It doesn't matter at all.
Which is what I do.
Exactly. Yeah. So I know it's not answering that question, but honestly, I think this is the right way to go about it. Yep.
Alrighty, well, that's it for the submissions.
Okay.
So do you have any last like tips and tricks for
No, I think
the people out there?
invest. If you're not sure, I think a lot of people don't want to start investing because of this exact issue. I don't know what to invest in. There's so many options. If you are so confused by it, just start. Just start. Even if it's just ASB, even if it's not the most optimal way for you to invest, at least just start. And it's similar for when you want to start investing into stocks, when you want to start investing into crypto. There are a lot of information out there. There are a lot of things that can confuse you, but just start small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me as well, just like as a first time investor, I wouldn't go so gung-ho and like invest in like crypto.
Yep.
Start low and slow,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
ASB is a great way to start. And
Yeah.
then if you're feeling a bit more like risky, move on to stock,
Other
which is
things.
where I am right now.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't regret it at all. It's been like a couple of months now.
Exactly. So maybe the next time we talk, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm invested into Bitcoin
Yeah,
now.
I'm in crypto now. I'm like a crypto bro now. But yeah, alrighty.
Very cool. Nice talking to you, Yasmin.
Thank you very
Maybe next time you will really be invested in Bitcoin. And then you'll be asking me, so which crypto do I invest in?
Oh gosh.
All right, I hope you guys learned something from this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.